2 years ago, that number was 170. It run $100 to $200 a ton for 15 years, depending on economic swings. 100 to 200, 100 to 200. So the 171 in August of 2017 was normal operating conditions. That's a profitable operation for a recycler to do, to collect the cardboard, get it to market, sell it, collect your money. You got 100, 125 a ton in processing costs getting to market, and the market pays 170. It works, everybody's happy. Now the market's at 28 right now. Mixed paper, that was somewhere in the $40 to $50 a ton range forever. So this is just general mixed paper. Fiber is what the industry calls it. Right now you got to pay $2 a ton to get rid of it. Sorted office paper, which again is a higher grade product. Right now pays 108 a ton. 2 years ago it was 160. Aluminum cans, currently market rates around 54 cents a pound. A year ago, 55 cents. 2 years ago, 76 cents. It's a drastic drop. Steel cans, a year ago, 196 a ton. So this is even competing with regular scrap prices. I just got some pricing last week, $50 a ton. Plastic bottles, somewhere the market run around 15 cents a pound for plastic bottles, mixed. So you could get higher prices for plastic, but you had to offset your labor costs. So where do you run? The market, there was market for everything mixed together. That paid 15 cents a pound. That was pretty good. Right now it's 6 cents a pound. So that kind of lays the groundwork for where the recycling industry is at right now. So is this thing starting to happen? I'm looking at numbers for the last several years, and I keep questioning glass at our facility. So we have 25 drop-off points around the Clinton County region. Some of them are up the Pine Creek Valley, hill section of southern part of Potter, that neck of the woods. So they're very rural. We do curbside collection around the county for a monthly fee that's very reasonable. So we're looking at what's the biggest cost eater of our recycling program. And at the end of the day, glass just kept being a real struggle. So it's not only a safety issue for a personnel standpoint that's processing, but the idea that the cost per ton of processing cost just seemed like I was missing something. So I'm sitting with my recycling coordinator year after year and saying, we got to get a hard number on what this is costing us to do glass because it's hurting our whole program. So at the end of the day, we started out at 90 bucks a ton is what we had in processing costs for glass. That's our internal cost. That's not really a market cost. That's our cost to get a ton of glass to market. So we backed up and redid several things in our operation to lean it out, to minimize some labor, try to get a little more speed. We got it down to 80 bucks a ton. Historically, and this is from 1990 on, top price for glass is $15 a ton. So when you really dig into it and you try to get the nuts and bolts connected, it's costing 80 bucks a ton to get glass to market, and the market pays $10 to $15 a ton. The issue with that is not well, there's more to that story here, and I'll get to that. The issue with glass is it's competing against sand. So until we get afraid of running out of sand, that's what glass direct competition is the raw material sand. So The markets can look at the processing cost to try and compete against raw sand, and it's painful for them. They can call somewhere and get a dump truck of the exact spec sand delivered for about $25 a ton, or they can spend $45, $50 a ton to try and get it processed down to make, so they pay the 10 a ton to the people that get it to the thing, to the market. The market processes it at 40 some, $50 a ton. So they sit there and think, no, I'm recycling glass, so I think I've done the right thing, but I got 50 to 55 a ton in it. This is ready to go into new material, or I can get raw sand delivered the exact spec for 25 a ton. So that's been the downward pressure on glass. That really wasn't a China issue. That's just been in the works forever. So we tried to see where we could subsidize and continue to do glass for our recycling program in 2016. As these market numbers are starting to jiggle around, like I mentioned earlier, we had to pull the plug on glass because it was dragging our whole program down. So we had to make a decision. We either drastically raise the cost of all the other recyclables that do work, or we pull the plug on glass. So we pulled the plug on glass. We were a little early from around the country because it was a very emotional, connected issue. People feel good recycling glass. They think they're doing the right thing. Now there's been a lot of studies digging into it, and the actual recycling process of glass is worse for the carbon footprint than using raw material. So glass has two negatives that we've been offsetting forever, and one was the economics, which never worked, but we all thought we needed to do it because we were trained to do that. And then the second part is the environmental aspect that's starting to become a reality is we're increasing our carbon footprint by recycling glass. I didn't do this study. I just read them and try and vet out whether I believe the facts in the study, and now multiple entities are starting to drop glass because they just can't afford to subsidize glass recycling with other paper, cardboard, plastics, etc. All the fiber products have been studied to death. They are a negative carbon footprint. We minimize our carbon footprint by recycling all the fibers. More years than not, the economics of it work. So I think the fiber aspect of recycling is sound and stable. We're dealing with a rough time with the China issue. The good news is there's 18 new paper recycling facilities being built in the U.S. as we speak. So the U.S. is on the path to solve our own paper recycling issues. So I think that market's going to be safe. Some growing pains yet as we figure out these global pricing issues, but that's going to work, and it'll continue to be around because more often than not you can cover your cost and you might make a couple bucks. So that keeps everybody interested. Plastic recycling is environmentally, it's a must. Economically, it's a maybe. But the studies have come back and confirmed that the recycling process of plastic, although it might be clumsy from time to time because there's so many different plastic products, we minimize our carbon footprint by recycling plastic. So most of the time the economics work. We all know what the generation of plastic is crude.